Okay. Success. I have gone online. Alright. Alright, so first things first. You may see the title of the stream if you're jumping in on Twitch or that. This is labeled as a redo stream. I really don't have much of a choice but to do a redo stream for this, because last night's stream didn't go it didn't go as planned. Let me get the game up here. Should be able to see that. And hopefully this time you can actually hear the game, because that was the problem last time. Yes, okay. I think we're good. I can hear the game in my live view here. Cool. Alright. For anybody who kind of jumped in yesterday night, I apologize about the screw up in the audio. I can tell you, I know exactly what happened now. So over the weekend, I was having some problems with my sound card, as usual. And, you know, stupid, silly me, I trusted Microsoft Windows to fix the problem. And all it did was make it worse. So I had to uninstall my sound drivers and reinstall the proper ones to get things back to where they were before. And it didn't even occur to me to test OBS and make sure OBS was still functioning properly. Because the moment you do that, it deletes the sound, my sound settings from OBS. So OBS didn't even think I had a sound driver installed anymore. So that's why you could hear me in the microphone, but not hear any game audio, because the game audio wasn't being captured anymore. So I didn't even think to check for that. Because usually my problems are with the microphone. I check my microphone every now and then. I don't think to check the game audio. Especially while I'm playing. So it's like, I just assume it's all working. But it wasn't working. So anyway. So, as much as it sucks, it probably was a good thing that it happened with Star Trek Online instead of Chrono Trigger. If it had happened while I was streaming Chrono Trigger, DZ would have been in a pickle. Because it's likely I would have had footage of the game completely borked up and I would not have been able to fix it. But at least in Star Trek Online, I can replay the missions. So it's annoying, but that's what I'll do because I want to have the series done proper. I hope you understand and appreciate the trouble I'm going through to make sure that this playthrough is as good as it can be. So, anyway, we're back with now Commander Maven. So if you didn't watch the last stream, we did level up to level 20. We are a commander. I'm not going to be able to replay everything. That's the sucky part. I'm not going to be able to redo getting the commander level ship. No, I can't redo that. For anybody wondering, I got an Akira class ship. I named it the Kojiro. Yeah, I named it the Kojiro. It's I'm not going to use it because I already got a good ship. So, and I don't think I can redo the patrol that I did the last time, but it's not really a big deal. The only thing that sucks is I can't redo the mission on Vulcan, which I started off with the last stream, because that is a one and done mission. I can't redo that. So, but for the sake of the audience, I will have to tell you what happened there. I can't show you because I can't redo the mission, but I have to tell you it. Basically, there's a Romulan ambassador visiting Vulcan, Ambassador Zurok. You have to go there, you talk to the Vulcan ambassador, she wants you to provide security, so you talk to her, then you go talk to the ambassador. The Romulan ambassador gets sent a threatening message, and at that point you have to kind of investigate the message and suss out who the culprit is. You find out that the message was obviously not written by a Vulcan, because there's a lot of inaccuracies in it. You talk to all these other historians on the planet to get the right information, to try and prove to Jirok, hey, this was not written by a Vulcan, it was written by somebody else. But then you get an anonymous tip gets sent to your ship, which indicates that Jirok's assistant is the culprit. But you still have to do a proper forensic, like a digital forensic investigation of the message, and the tip. And that leads you to Jobok, who is the assistant to the Vulcan ambassador, and then you think about implicating him, but then you talk to him and he finds out, no, he was working with the assistant to the Romulan ambassador, so the assistant was the culprit all along. Then you go back and accuse him, and then the ambassador finds out about it, and the case is solved, basically. And that's what happened. So, unfortunately, I can't replay that. It involved a lot of talking, running back and forth, so it probably wasn't it's not the most interesting mission, but, But it is referenced later on in the Romulan mystery story, so that's why I did it. Because chronologically, it should happen, at least in the early part of the Romulan mystery arc. You should probably try to do it. But I am going to have to redo the last two missions I did. The Vault and Mine Enemy. The Vault's going to be annoying to have to redo again, because I am at a higher level now. Which means it's going to be slightly more challenging now. But redoing Mine Enemy is not really a problem, because I was going to redo this mission anyway. So, but for the sake of storyline, we're going to redo the Vaults here.
The Romulans had a base known as the Vault that they used for research into Borg technology. This facility was abandoned in the chaos after the destruction of the Romulan homeworld, but intelligence suggests that the work there was far enough along that it was used to retrofit Nero's ship before it disappeared along with Ambassador Spock's vessel in the Hfifar System. Long-range sensors have detected energy spikes in the Iconian system, and Starfleet intelligence believes that someone is bringing the Vault back online. We need to know who, and more importantly, we need to know if there is still Borg technology or restricted weaponry on that base. I need you to proceed immediately to the Iconian system and investigate the Vault. Engage if you must, but I would prefer if you could gather the information we need, without conflict.
Okay. This is the Vault mission we're doing again. Or if this is your first time watching, we're doing it for the first time. So we got a mission. One of the key things about this mission is that this mission is supposed to introduce you to using the shuttle for a mission. And that's why we have to talk to Mr. Kyle DeSoto here.
In order to avoid drawing too much attention, you need to fly under the radar, so to speak. Admiral Tenay has authorized the requisition of a shuttlecraft for you. You can fulfill the requisition in the shipyard. Once you're ready, take the shuttlecraft out to the Iconian system. If you have a runabout fighter or other such craft available, feel free to use it, but do not approach the system in a starship. We want to avoid the notice of whoever's in the vault. A shuttle will also be able to dock with the vault and explore the interior.
Understood. Also, Republic Intelligence will be sending one of their best with you on this operation. Commander Tal Mera. She's been fully briefed and will transport to your vessel as soon as you are ready to depart for Iconian. I trust this won't be a problem, Commander. Not at all.
Any questions?
Ooh, is this a Section 31 operation? I've always wanted to be part of one.
What? Oh, that mythical boogeyman organization? No. This is a standard Starfleet operation at the behest of Admiral Tenay and supported by Starfleet intelligence. In case you were wondering, that means that you should observe all regulations and don't start a war.
I'll try not to.
Any questions?
What can I expect at the Vault?
Borg technology, Thalaron weapons like the ones used by Shinzon, cloaking mines, and heavy graviton beams? We're not entirely sure. That's why we need eyes inside. The station itself is near a micronebula and surrounded by a tachyon detection grid. Even a cloaked ship wouldn't be able to sneak in there. You should also expect automated defenses like turrets and cannons. We haven't spotted any ships in the vicinity, fortunately. Although with Romulan cloaking, anything is possible. Any questions?
What if I need support?
Starfleet will make sure to have a ship or two in range for a rapid response in case of emergency. Hopefully, though, you'll be able to keep things quiet and that won't be necessary. Of course, missions rarely go exactly as planned. Any questions?
You can say that again. No more questions.
Very well. Remember, you must use a shuttlecraft, runabout, fighter, or similar small operations craft to undertake this mission. We need on-site intel from the interior of the vault. Starfleet will not clear you to enter the Hfifar System otherwise. Good luck.
Alright. Alright, so at this point, normally you would get a shuttle requisition objective. So like I mentioned, this mission is supposed to introduce the player to using the shuttlecraft. There's really not that many shuttlecraft missions in the game. There's only 3 I know of. Maybe there's others. I haven't, in my over 800 hours of playing the game, I don't think I've encountered any other shuttlecraft mission besides the 3 I'm aware of. This one, Operation Gamma in the Lost Dominion arc, and the one in the Legacy of Romulus. And the first 2 I mentioned, this one and Lost Dominion, they're really not too bad, even though shuttles are kind of a nuisance to use because they're pathetically weak. The one in Legacy of Romulus is terrible because it's a combat-focused mission, and shuttlecraft are just terrible at combat in this game. They're basically they're basically like level 1 starships, like a starter starship. They're equivalent to that, basically. So they're that level of weakness, no matter what level you're going into the game at, so don't use them. Anyway, if you get the shuttle requisition thing, you gotta talk to shuttle information person here, and then you talk to ship and shuttle requisitions. Yeah, let's make that load up here. Let me pull up the shuttlecrafts here. So when you get the requisition, you really only have one type of shuttlecraft you can get. That's the Type 8. Yeah, Type 8 shuttle, this one here. Now, I would suggest, if you, by this point in the game, if you have the EC, go ahead and buy the runabout, because the runabout is much better. It's a little beefier than the Type 8, so it'll give you a little bit more survivability for the shuttle missions. So I would definitely recommend this over the Type 8 shuttle. I do already have the Yellowstone runabout from the from some freebie pack, so I have that. It's equivalent to the runabout, so I'm going to be using that. Anyway, that's all we got. All we have to do here. Let's beam up and get to the mission. Nope, I am ready to warp out of here. Almost warped directly into that Intrepid class ship. Sometimes the game doesn't care how I warp out of places. It's just like, oh, you're gonna. I've warped through planets and asteroids and stars. The game doesn't care. Oh, and the other thing I kind of wanted to mention about the shuttles. I know they kind of imply in talking to DeSoto that you have to depart in a shuttlecraft and fly to the system in a shuttlecraft. You don't have to do that. You can still fly to the system in your regular ship. You'll just automatically switch over to your shuttlecraft when you start the mission, that's all. So, if anybody was thinking that, don't worry about it. You're fine. You will automatically switch to the shuttlecraft when the time is appropriate. So... Now that said, this stream might end up being a little shorter than yesterday, because obviously there's going to be a little bit less for me to do tonight, because I'm still only going to do these 2 missions. I'm not gonna mess my pacing up here, but there will be a bonus thing we're going to do at the end. It might be fun, because I realized that after the stream yesterday that I now can do something that should be interesting. So please stick around to the end. We might have some fun. So or maybe we'll stick in some other patrols in just to kind of pass the time. We'll see. Anyway, they mentioned this place, the Vault. Apparently this is where Nero modified his mining ship to turn into the Borg modified monstrosity that you see in the Kelvin movie. This place is like the Death Star. It's like a really big facility in space.
Obviously, this station isn't as abandoned as Intel suspected. Sensors are reading several Reman ships in the area, and that's just the ones that we can spot. That station is immense. It must have taken an incredible amount of manpower and technology to build it. It's almost the size of a small moon.
That's no moon.
Sensors are reading a sophisticated tachyon detection network, as well as several patrolling vessels. For an abandoned station, this facility certainly has a lot of activity. My people are experts at stealth technology. If we want to approach unseen, we must avoid confrontation and find a way to evade or jam their sensor grid. We must assume that if we engage the ships here, they'll notify whoever is left on the station, and it may become difficult to find an entry point.
Alright.
The Remans are all over this system. If we start a fight with one of the ships, we'll probably have to fight them all. And there's no telling how many are cloaked here. We have a number of possible options to explore. Sensors are reading a small derelict worker ship near some of the asteroid debris. We might find helpful clues there. The Remans are all over this system. The material requirements to make a base of that size must have been enormous. There's a lot of stellar debris here. Probably remnants of asteroids or fragments from moons that were mined for raw materials. We might be able to do something useful with them. One of the large asteroids has a navigational beacon. The Tal Shiar must have placed it there for some reason. The Remans are all over this system. If we start a fight with one of the ships, we'll probably have to fight them all. And there's no telling how many are cloaked here. We have a number of possible... There's a small patch of nebula gases near the station. The static discharges in the area are highly intense. We may be able to cover an approach to the station by traveling through the nebula. This would be risky, because the nebula would cloud our tactical displays and interfere with our shields, but it would almost certainly keep the station's sensor grid from detecting us until we're right on top of them. The Remans are all over this system. Sensors are reading a small derelict worker ship near some of the asteroid debris. We might find helpful clues there.
Okay.
The Remans are all over this system.
Okay, so she's just covering the options that we have. Depending on your class, that'll depend on which option you can really utilize. We'll take a look at all 3 of these. So this is the asteroid.
This asteroid is unusually large, and it's clearly been mined. It was probably used for raw construction materials, like most of the debris here. This particular asteroid contains pergium, titanium, and uranium. It was probably tractored from a nearby system and brought here to construct hull components and power systems. We could probably cut a piece from the asteroid with our weapons for further analysis.
Alright, we can do that.
Warning, ship is under attack.
Looks like the fragment has picked up a bit of residual energy from our weapon burst. It'll be radiating energy for a while. Other than that, it's just a rock.
It's just a rock. Okay, if we were an engineer, we could probably do something with this, but we're not. So let's move on to where the Deliric ship is. We're gonna have to get spotted by the Romulans. We don't want to have to fight them. Like I mentioned, the shuttlecraft are kind of awful at combat, so we don't want to do that. They only have one phaser and one torpedo. We're also a little bit squishy, so we don't want to get into a prolonged fight with anybody.
Indications are that this vessel was refitted for asteroid mining. Apparently, a containment failure in the engine core led to a massive radiation surge. The engine went into emergency shutdown, but all of the couplings and injectors were burned out. The crew probably died due to instant radiation burns. It looks like the vessel was stripped for parts and left derelict.
Yeah. Okay, so if we were a science officer character, we could do something with that. But we're not, so we need to go check the subspace relay here.
Looks like they left this satellite as a communications booster for their short-range worker shuttles. Fortunately for us, it's still active. Unfortunately, it's heavily encrypted. Traffic analysis shows that the network routes its communications through a series of nodes at the station's dorsal peaks. If we flood them with excessive signal, it could cause the network to be unable to handle any signal traffic, which would give us a brief window to slip in. The alerts wouldn't go off because the station would never get the signal. We'll still have to avoid the patrols and make sure we don't get too close to the station until we make the broadcast.
Alright. We're gonna disrupt the communications of the detection array. Let's approach the space station. See, I would imagine, I mean, it looks big right now, but it's even bigger on the inside. I would imagine this place is
approaching the tachyon grid perimeter.
Is even bigger
if we're
than
detected by it, that will definitely alert the Remans.
It's bigger than the Earth space dock, I imagine.
Station sensor hub jammed.
All right, crossing over. Okay. Go for it. Dun, 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 dun.
Picking up some unusual energy readings. We'll need to explore the accessible interior areas and see what we can find. Looks like there's another access conduit across from us. We'll have to think three-dimensionally in here. Sensor readings are also picking up a few scattered life signs.
All right. And you go to the other side here.
We've tripped some security systems. The doors are a massive set of interior bulkhead doors. They're segmenting the different parts of the base. Possibly a safety measure in case something went wrong in one of the central areas. Access appears to be controlled by use of security keys. We can disable it if we can find a code block that matches part of a security key.
Okay, let's try scanning the turret.
This defense turret was hooked into part of the security network. There's a security code in its subsystem, code block 6750. The security key is on a rotation. Each code block matches a piece of one key. Key in the appropriate code when the rotation matches to it. Trying a code on the wrong rotation will probably invalidate that code, so be careful with the timing.
Alright, so basically you have to wait till this code changes till it matches this. It's a little confusing because I know this is a 4-digit code and these are 3-digit codes, but basically just wait till this turns yellow and then you can click it and then you should be okay. If you do mess this up, there's a couple other options to get more code keys in here. I know there's a person you can contact in one of the buildings, and there's a shuttlecraft flying around in here. I don't know what happens if you use up all the chances, though. I've never had that happen before, but just so you want to know how this works, that's what you have to do here. So you just have to be patient. The game will let you know when it's okay to click this. Boop, 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 boop. Yesterday when I did this, it like came up like right away. Now I have to wait. Oh, there it is.
That's it. Well done. We should be able to bypass the system and gain access now.
Open sesame. Let's not get shot by the plasma. Ah.
There's still power in most of the station. Some of these conduits are damaged. Keep an eye out for energy discharges.
Like it says examine the abandoned fighter, but I can never get that to trigger. It's like, oh, no, can't do anything with that.
Microgravity storage crates. Mostly construction supplies. No weapons or unusual energy signatures.
And then we get to this stuff here. So there's these little energy barriers that are kind of randomly appearing in front of everything here. This shit is like almost impossible to avoid taking damage from.
Warning. Ship is under attack.
I probably wouldn't even bother trying to spend too much thought on this. We're just gonna have to take the hit.
Warning. Ship is under attack. Warning. Ship is under attack.
Above us, that's a Borg sphere. The Tal Shiar must have used this base as a storage facility and research area for Borg technology. Electrical discharges, probably from ionization leaking from the sphere and research nodes. We should be cautious about flying too close to them. The Borg sphere is dormant, like it's been put to sleep. It's not the source of the strange readings that long-range scans detected. Looks like the sphere's hooked into part of the local systems network. We should be able to exit through the other doors now. Probably a safety precaution to keep them locked.
So the other doors are over here.
Warning.
Nope, we got
Ship
hit.
is under attack. Left shields failing.
Oh, it stuck me inside the field. Taking damage.
Quiet in this area. Too quiet.
Unusual energy readings. Oh, it could be this thing.
This is disturbing. We're looking at a facility used to build Thalaron weapons. If the Remans have infiltrated this base, they may be trying to secure those weapons.
Ah, so our intruder finally arrives at the heart of the matter. Have you seen all that you came to see, little spy?
And just who are you?
Does it really matter? Call me Obisek, if a name is that important to you.
And what are you doing here?
That should be obvious. I intend to make use of this station to further my agenda. Your presence, however, is a bit more curious. I expect that you are operating under the shroud of Empress Sela, whether you realize it or not.
I'm not an agent of Empress Sela.
Did you know Sela's mother was a human? And a Starfleet officer, no less. Given Starfleet's many attempts at interference with the Romulan Star Empire over the years, it is quite obvious that at least some elements of both organizations are cooperating. Either that, or possibly your Starfleet has been tricked into doing the Empress's bidding.
Starfleet is a peaceful organization of exploration. I swear, and not a political tool.
Your protest will do you no good in any case. I expected interference, and I have taken steps to ensure that you will not disrupt my plans.
You must know that the galactic powers will not permit you to use Thalaron weapons.
I'm not especially interested in what you will or will not permit. My only interest is proving a point to the Romulans. My people have been hounded across the stars. We have been separated from our loved ones, and had our homes destroyed. Our ships have been attacked, and our warriors slain by treachery. No more. We will take the fight to them, and we will be free. I am afraid our time is at an end. My associates have already finished loading the Thalaron weapons that we need, and I have other operations to manage. I think we both know what happens now. May your death be quick and valorous.
Uh-huh. So much for peace. And here comes the Scorpion fighters. Where is it? Okay, so we're mostly going to be fighting just Scorpion fighters. They're not too bad, they're just kind of annoying. They're very tiny and hard to see. I have to tab around to find them.
Ship is under attack.
Come on. Die. I think one of them flew right into the barrier. Let's take damage. Ow. Dang it. Alright, we got a Mo guy in here. You don't have to fight the Mo guy. You can sneak past it, which is probably a little faster to do. Where are you? Okay, well, it's kind of out of range. We should be able to get by it.
Blast the door locks.
Is under attack.
There you go. Sneak past.
Ship is under attack.
Oh, Scorpion fighters. Just about out of shields here. Alright, we do have a Tavaro over here. I should be able to take the Tavaro. At least last time I was able to. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Tavaro was like intentionally nerfed. Alright, let's get out of
We
here.
must stop Obisek's ship. They cannot be allowed to possess Thalaron weapons. We can use the subspace booster satellite outside the station to send a message to Starfleet as soon as we're clear of the interior. But Obisek's warship will almost certainly attack us when we do. We'll have to survive long enough for reinforcements to arrive. Reinforcements have arrived and are just past that nebula. We don't have much time. We need to meet with our allies and stop that ship.
We're approaching a Mutara-class nebula. If we go deeper, visual will be obscured and shield will be useless. Well, we'll be on even footing though.
USS Lock, we are now in the micronebula.
Alright, we need to fight the fighters and torpedoes. We're not gonna fight the battle cruiser.
Ship is under attack.
It lives as one automatically. The faster you kill the fighters, the sooner this is over. Whoa! Except for the explosion. I almost forgot about that.
That was quite an explosion. Probably from the Thaleron weapons carried aboard the ship. We're going to leave the system under high warp to draw off any reinforcements that might come looking. Suggest you return to Federation space.
Alrighty. Let's get out of here. We're done now. See? That mission wasn't too bad. Alright, but we do need to go back to Starbase Sierra. I'm just going to transwarp there. It'll be faster. Use fast travel. I won't be using fast travel all that much in this playthrough. Just saying, but for this point, I will do. Because this warp speed is still kind of slow. Oh, hey, look, it's a California class ship. Itasca. People need to name the California class after, it's supposed to be named after California cities. That's sort of the naming convention theme for that class, but I don't know if everybody knows that. It's supposed to name it after a town or city in California. Cerritos is a town in California. If you just want to stick with the naming convention, I know. Nobody cares. Name it what you want.
I've taken a preliminary look at your logs, and it seems that things went a bit unexpectedly. I have a feeling this isn't the last time we'll be seeing the vault. The Reman commander you encountered is definitely a major player in the disintegration of the Romulan Star Empire. I'm going to send the information you gathered about him over to an old colleague of mine, Dr. Maximilian Peters, for analysis. If this Reman is a leader in their separatist movement, we'll have to deal with him again. And hopefully, Dr. Peters can work up a psychological profile for him, and a sociological analysis of the Separatists. Our next step will be to decode the signal intelligence and go through any remnants left from the ship that was destroyed near the vault. Now that we know that the Remans were hoping to use Thaleron weapons, we need to figure out their target location. Right now, Starfleet knows far too little about a civil war in the making, but it'll take time to sift through all of the data. Keep in touch. Starfleet will notify you when we have a lead. Oh, and thanks for the good work.
Alrighty.
Excellent work. We need to learn more about the conflict between Obisek and the Romulans. Sila's forces may indeed be hounding the Remans, but the use of Thaleron weapons is unacceptable. Not even the Klingons or the Breen will stoop to such barbarism. Starfleet intelligence will be working to decode the list of possible targets you acquired from the base's databanks. The next step may be to investigate these sites and find out why the Remans want to destroy them.
Oh, we will find out. Well, let's see if there's any, like, prizes here that might be worth getting this time. Not really. I could just get another Scorpion fighter. I mean, I've already got a good set of phasers and weapons, so I don't think I need anything. I'll just take the Scorpion fighters.
I have new missions for you.
No, we have an extra set of Scorpion fighters.
Excellent work. We need to learn more about the conflict between Obisek.
I have new missions for you.
Unable to resolve mission. Vault inventory full. What? Oh, maybe I can't carry more than one of those. Maybe that's the issue.
Excellent work. We need to learn more about the conflict between Obisek and the Romulans. Sila's forces may indeed be hounding the Remans.
I have new missions
Yeah, okay,
for
there
you.
we go. Yeah, apparently I can't have more than one of the Scorpion Fighter item. Alright, well, it's good to know, because I never had that situation pop up before, so you only have one. What are we doing to help the Romulan civilians, like those miners? Oh wait, this is... Okay, this is dialogue from after the next mission. So that dialogue doesn't actually apply here. Alright, well, let's start up the next mission here. It is going to be... Mine enemy. What do I have left after that? Coliseum, guiding the core in darkness.
Starfleet intelligence has decoded the list of Reman targets that you recovered from the vault. I need you to investigate one of these locations and determine why Obisek and his forces planned an attack there. The Hfifar System is still technically part of the Romulan Star Empire, but Ferengi speculators have moved in, and the Empress has done nothing to remove them. The Ferengi have reopened the mines, and are now doing business with anyone with Latinum. You will go to the Hfifar System under the pretense of negotiating a possible trade agreement with the Federation. Talk to Madron, the operator of the mines. Convince him to allow you access. Find out all you can. Once we know why Obisek and the Remans are targeting these mines, then we will be able to decide how to proceed.
Okay. So I don't really mind replaying this mission again, because the first time you go through it, you will get to this, the Order Hatchling. But if you play it through it a second time, you will get this, the Order Mineralogy Research option. This is a special duty officer assignment that will turn this into a combat pet. So right now this is a non-combat pet. If you do this, it will convert this into a combat pet, so you can have a combat order with you. So this is probably one of the first combat pets you can get in the game. It's this one right here. But probably not too many people know you have to play the mission twice in order to unlock that. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Alrighty, I think there's nothing else. There's no good stuff in my inventory I got. Yeah, just stuff. Just the usual stuff. Alright. Get back to the ship. We're going to warp out. Let's do it. Alright, so the Hfifar System. Just enjoy the journey. Traveling through the final frontier. We do have a patrol we can do here too. We might do that after this. Captain, the Remans were targeting a magnesite mine in this area, but the list we recovered didn't have its exact coordinates. I know we're in the right area, but all of the moons in this system are inhabited, and our sensors are being affected by the magnesite. We'll need to contact each moon and try to determine which one the Remans were actually targeting. Alright. We need to go knock on some doors. We do have some particles here. Get these. Alrighty. Door number 1.
You've stuck your nose in our business for the last time, Starfleet. All ships, attack! Attack!
No, they're not friendly. Nope. Stinking Orions. Don't want to be friends. Let's go knock on door number 2.
This moon is private property. No solicitors, beggars, or Starfleet allowed.
They're not very hospitable around here, are they? This is a dangerous area. It's only gotten worse since the destruction of Romulus. It might be difficult to get someone to trust us. You don't say, Zarb. You don't say.
Hello, my good friends. I'm so happy to meet you. Perhaps you are in the market for some high-quality magnesite? We have the finest ore in the quadrant. On behalf of the miners and residents here, I'm more than happy to welcome you to our home. Please transport to the surface. Unfortunately, the large amount of extremely pure magnesite ore in the core of our little world will interfere with your sensors. For safety reasons, I must insist that you use the transporter signal enhancers that I have installed at my own expense. Also, I know you Starfleet types are so fond of your away teams, but could you please restrict the number of crew you bring down to the surface? My people here aren't used to strangers, and you wouldn't want to disrupt their work, would you?
Oh no, we wouldn't want to disrupt them. Ready to beam down on your command, Captain. Alright. Alright. I'm gonna stick with what I had before. Dr. Chex is coming with me. Yeah. Helps me a little bit with survivability here. Right. Welcome to the dump. When you get to talk to Romulans and find out what's going on
Did you
here.
need something?
What are you doing here?
It's a long story. After the destruction of Romulus, I joined a group of colonists looking for a new place to settle. We chose to form a new agrarian community. On Viranot, a pastoral world on the edge of Romulan space. Our colony was attacked and destroyed. I managed to evade the attackers and get off-world with a small group of people. My luck ran out here, and I've been stuck ever since.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a biochemist by trade. I specialize in hemocyanin, a division of hematology, working with copper-based blood. On Viranot, I handled a lot of issues related to food compatibility and local biochemistry. These days, I mostly handle minor medical issues and nutritional deficiencies for the people living here. I can't afford passage off of this moon. I've managed to stay out of debt, but I don't know how long that will last.
Have you heard of anything strange locally?
This whole mining facility is nothing but strange. That Ferengi, Madron, rides everyone hard to make a profit. But just when it looks like things will get too bad, he turns around and does something generous. Folks have occasionally disappeared, and not by leaving on a ship. People here for weeks or months will suddenly vanish. People talk about seeing strange things, or being kept out of parts of the mine by the guards. There's something deeper in those mines. I'm sure of it.
Anyway, this character, Viranot, she's from, her name's not Viranot, Rye. She's from the Viranot colony, which is the same colony that the Romulan faction character comes from. If you play the Romulan character, you'll have a different interaction with her. That's what I pointed out, because it's a pretty interesting thing. Anyway, we got some more people to talk to, so I'm probably gonna run to the other people and hear the story about what's happening here. Please, have you seen my brother? Tell me about your life here.
My life is unimportant. It's my brother. I can't find him.
Maybe I can help. How long has he been missing?
I last saw him 2 days ago. Madron assigned both of us to work in the upper levels of the mine. Toshin's drill bit broke, and he needed a new one. I know I should have gone with him. It's not safe to be in the mine alone. Now he's gone.
Why isn't it safe to be in the mine?
There's a group of people down there who treat the mine like it's their own. I don't know why Madron tolerates them, but they make life miserable for the rest of us. They steal and terrorize the weak. I once saw them dragging a woman to the lower levels, and I never saw her again. She wasn't the only one. Many people have disappeared. I thought if my brother and I kept our heads down, that we would be safe, but maybe they took him. Murderers. Murderers. If they killed my brother, I'll kill them all.
Is there anything else I should know?
If you go into the mine, watch for the silver spheres. There are creatures in the dark. Devils. They're made of stone. Nothing can hurt them, and their touch burns. I have seen them moving around in the tunnels. Anywhere you see the silver spheres, the monsters are not far away.
We got some monsters, too. Jolan True, stranger. Have you always lived here?
Oh, my family and I have been here all our lives. It's a hard life, but it's all I know. My mother used to tell me tales of the home world. She'd talk about the plazas in Rateg or vacations she spent with her father on the shores of the Apnic Sea. And she would tell me about my father, who gave up his place in the military evacuation ship so she could live. He never knew he had a child. She would tell me these stories, and later, when she thought I was asleep, she would cry.
Tell me about Madron.
He charges us too much and pays too little. He's like everyone else in this world, out for himself. But he doesn't let us starve. And if a child needs medicine, they get it. Many here grumble and hate him, but I cannot. If I were in his position and his life was in my hands, can I say that I would act any differently than he does?
I mean, would you? Well, what can you tell me about this area?
Stay in the settlement. Don't go down into the mine. And whatever you do, don't leave this area. I do not wish you harm, stranger. And there are many dangers here. There is a group. They rule the mine. And they are dangerous. Even Madron fears them. If you avoid them, they will ignore you. And defy them, and they will turn on you. Last week, a good man died because he would not give them what they wanted. He was not the first. There are many monsters on this moon that you would be wise to avoid. Outside of the settlement, there are packs of wild animals. If you take a warrigal from its mother when it's very young, it can be tamed. If you wait too long, they are savage. The packs of wild warrigal roam the edges of our settlement. Often they prowl the refuse piles, looking for scraps of food. A pack of warrigal can kill even a strong man. You must be careful when you are in their territory. And they are not the only monsters here. The miners tell stories about creatures made of stone who can burn you to cinders. I have not seen one of these creatures myself, but I know that many people who enter the mine do not leave it.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen anyone suspicious around here?
You're the first outsider
Like
I've seen in a long time. There's no reason for anyone to want to come here.
Okay. Thank you for your time. Let's see, there is somebody over here we can talk to. Tell me about your miserable life. You don't see strangers here very often. What do you want? I want to know about your life here.
What can I say? We exist. I mine because there's nothing but rocks on this forsaken planet. If I'm lucky, I dig enough ore to make my quota, and Madron pays me. If he pays me, I can eat and have a warm place to sleep. If we don't make our quotas, there's nothing. Even if I do have latinum, most of it goes to Madron to pay my debts, and the rest he takes in exchange for the supplies he imports. I would leave, but I owe too much to Madron to ever earn enough to buy my passage off this place. Besides, where would I go?
Well, tell me about Madron.
Every morning, the first thing I do when I wake is curse that Ferengi's name. Madron found this moon about 2 years after the destruction of the homeworld. Most of our equipment was broken or useless, the supplies were gone, and we were starving. After some negotiations, Madron had his contract and we had food. We're supposed to be working with him, but he's the only one who benefits from our labor. Madron owns the only working ship here, so no supplies come in without him. He negotiates all of the ore contracts, so most of the latinum goes into his pocket. And he sets the prices for food, medicine, and equipment. So everyone here owes him more than we can ever repay. He owns us now. I hate him for that, but I can't live without him.
Sounds like a situation. Do you get any help from the Empire?
The Empire? What Empire? Our Empire turned to dust with the loss of the homeworld. If you're rich or in the military, then maybe there's something. I hear the people in Seela's Shining City and the Rator system live quite well, as long as they obey her commands. For the rest of us, there's nothing but dust and regret.
The Federation has sent aid. We want to help all Romulans.
I have heard this, but I have not seen that it is true. Are you going to go to every Romulan on every world and hand them bread? Because that is the only way you can help all of us. The strong take from the weak. Sela and her ships are strong. The Tal Shiar is strong. Your aid goes to fill their bellies and heal their wounds, Starfleet, not mine.
Okay. Friendly bunch around here, but I guess you can't really blame them. They are kind of stuck in a miserable place. Yeah. Alright, and finally the man, or Ferengi of the hour. Our favorite Ferengi in the game, Madron.
On behalf of everyone on this forsaken rock, let me be the first to welcome you to Hfifar. As you can see, we don't have time for pleasantries, and I'm not sharing my Tranya stash with you. So, why don't we skip the chit-chat and get down to business?
Of course. I've heard you are an excellent source of magnesite. What makes your mine better than the others in the sector?
Unfortunately, I cannot call this mine my own. I'm just a middleman. Out of the goodness of my heart, I help the residents here pass on the products of their hard work to commercial entities such as yourself. The minuscule transaction fee and trade tariff I keep to offset my expenses is figured into the unit cost of the ore. My operation has become one of the best in the area because of the high demand for my services from both sides. I provide the best mining equipment and supplies in the sector to the miners, while my customers get competitive pricing on the ore they need.
Do you have any more information about the mines themselves?
I don't pay much attention to that. Miners have empty carts and they return with ones filled with ore. If you're that interested, you could visit the mines themselves, but I don't recommend it. It's such a dirty, disagreeable business, and I'm convinced that breathing ore dust for too long is terrible for you. The miners who live near my quarters used to keep me up night after night with their dreadful coughing. I had to install soundproofing just to get some sleep. Are you sure you wouldn't rather look at the ore I have for sale?
Poor Madron. Can't get any sleep because of all the miners with black lung. Thanks, but I'd rather talk to the miners first.
Really? Suit yourself. Just remember, I have an exclusive contract to export magnesite ore from this moon. If you try to cut me out of your deals, you'll regret it.
I just have a few questions before we conduct any business. I'll be back when I'm done. To Lou. Madron won't answer any questions about why the Remans might be targeting this place for fear of scaring us away from a possible sale. Perhaps if we ask some of the locals about what's going on here, they'll be able to provide more information. Right? Sounds like a good idea. Let's go talk to some people. Talk to more people. See if anybody actually needs any help here. So like in the previous mission, there are objectives that only a certain class of character can do.
I'm sorry, I really can't talk at the moment. I have to finish a survey of the area so the miners can start work on a new mine shaft.
So this is a science-specific one, which we can't do because we're not a science officer, but we'll look at all of these here. Is there anything I can do to help?
As much as I'd appreciate someone else to lug around this heavy equipment, it's all very delicate, and I'd only trust a capable scientist to help me.
Well, if I encounter someone who can help, I'll send them your way. Unfortunately, I can't send my bridge officer to help them, even though they're the right class, because they just can't.
don't have time to talk to you right now. I need to repair this drill so I can make a living.
Is there anything I can do to help?
Not unless you know an engineer who'd be willing to take a few moments out of their busy schedule to help me fix this hunk of junk.
Well, if I encounter anyone who can help, I'll send them your way. Hey, Zarva, can... Oh, wait, no, you can't beam down to help me. Never mind. I can't send my chief engineer to help. Alright, so we'll talk to this dude then.
I can't talk to you. I can't talk to anyone. I'm on the run. And if those thugs see me talking to you, then you'll be in danger too.
Is there anything I can do to help?
I need someone who's not afraid of a fight. There's a group here that's beating and stealing from us. Madron doesn't do anything to stop it. For all I know, he's getting a cut of everything they take. They're making life miserable for all of us. Would you be willing to help?
He cracked my knuckles. Yeah, count me in. I love beating people up.
There's a group of bullies that have been stealing from us. If we don't give them what they want, they beat us. I had a friend. All he was trying to do here was feed his family. Be a good man. He had an old bottle of ale. He said it was from the homeworld. One of those thugs wanted it. Now, my friend is dead. I'm too weak to stop them, I know that. And now I have my friend's children to feed in addition to my own. But if someone were to teach them a lesson, this camp would be a better place for all of us.
Right. Let's go beat up the local bullies. And by beat up, I mean shoot them with phasers. Here's a group. We're gonna lob grenades at him. Dead. See? The bullies have been beaten up. So there's two other groups. There's another one in this inside the settlement, but there's another outside the settlement. So you have to kind of go around the settlement here to reach from. And they are over here. I'm gonna lob another grenade at them. Have fun. You're welcome. And then the last group is kind of behind this building right in front of me. Here. Grenade! You're welcome. Covered in blood splatter. No, thank you for saving me. Alright, the bullies have been dealt with. By that, I mean they are dead.
Thank you. Those guys have been giving everyone a lot of trouble. These thugs are part of a larger group that operates deep inside the magnesite mine. They control the lower levels, and no one who goes down there uninvited ever comes back. I don't know what's so important down there that's worth hurting us to protect it. Maybe if you went down there, you could get some answers.
I plan to. But first I need to talk to Madron again. I need your GPS reports. Yeah.
You want to go in the mine? Are you really interested in buying any magnesite? Or are you just here to cause trouble? Because if it's the latter, I know someplace you can start a little ruckus. There's a gang that controls the bottom levels of the mine. They won't even let me in there. Previously, I allowed them to keep their little kingdom in exchange for information. But lately, they've been more trouble than they're worth. And the intel they're feeding me is useless. Honestly, Who doesn't know about the Breen invasion of Deferi space?
Well, I'll take that information to heart. Let's go check out the mine. Gotta get that gas. Hello, angry miner.
What do you
Meet again.
want?
I'd like to enter this area.
This area is restricted. Only people my friends and I like may enter. And I don't like you!
Well, maybe if you got to know me a little better, you'd learn to like me. I like me. Dr. Chax likes me. I think.
You don't belong here. And I'm done talking with you. Leave now! Or suffer the consequences.
It's been a pleasure wasting my time with you. Alright, so this dude here, it is possible to talk your way past him, but you have to have a high diplomatic rank in order to have the options to talk to him. That's this right here. So, since this is a mission that happens pretty early in the game, it's very unlikely you're going to have this ranked up high enough to get past him. I think it has to be almost like 3 or 4 in order to talk your way past him. So, yeah, it's kind of a tall order this early in the game. So, unless you replay the game much later on, replay this mission much later on, then you can probably talk your way past him. But for now, we can't, and then he's going to try to shoot us in the back when we walk past him, so we'll have to kill him. Come on, there he goes. Just blast him with lightning. Alright, there's a group of Romulan attackers up ahead. They can be a little tough to deal with, but hopefully we should be okay. I fared okay the last time. But they can't overwhelm you if you're not careful. Was there another Centaurian with there? Yeah, okay. Alright, good. We got them all. Alright, now I need to examine the camp. Captain, there are a series of pressure plates located in this area. They're low tech, but the Romulans may have had to resort to outdated security measures because of the interference from the magnesite veins in this cavern. The problem is that the magnesite is making our tricorders almost useless. If there's anything on this moon that the Remans would want to eliminate badly enough to use Thalorn weapons, it has to be here. I'm going to have to figure out how to use the pressure plates to reveal whatever the Romulans are trying to hide. I suspect that we need to activate 2 of them to open the door. So this mission is also supposed to kind of introduce you to bridge officer commands. So it's easiest to kind of do this on a top-down view. What you're going to do is you're going to come over to here, and you're going to select this option here to tell Dr. Chax where to go. So I want him to stand over here, so it's sometimes kind of hard to center this up exactly. Basically kind of where the mouse pointer is, not where the floating indicator is, but where the mouse pointer is probably where the center of this is supposed to be. So That's what I usually go with. So okay, so he's technically standing on the plate, even though he didn't walk all the way onto it, but that's good enough. Sometimes they don't walk all the way. It's kind of annoying, but in this case he did. So okay, so we gotta stay on this one and we'll lock in the coordinates, and we are good. And now we can open the door. Nope. So next issue is that Dr. Chax is just he's gonna keep standing there. I don't really know if there's any commands to clear him. Left click to replace rally. Is that? No, that just makes a new rally point. Click to dismiss. Okay, there we go. Okay. So I have to right click that to reset that. If you can't figure it out, you can also regroup the bridge officer button there, which I also use sometimes. Alright, let's move on. At a secret base. Who could be here?
I give the orders here, Commander. You are out of line.
With all due respect, sir, there is a difference between protecting the Empire from her enemies and provoking.
There is much here you do not understand, Janik. The Remans need to know their place. As do you. I will not forget your insubordination, Commander. The Tal Shiar has no place for officers who cannot follow orders.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'll be in the command center.
Colonel, they were civilians. Their blood is on our hands.
Get used to it. There will be more. Speaking of which, why don't you clean out the brig before you become a resident there?
I'm always surprised that none of them noticed the door was like wide open here. Especially Hfifar, because he was looking directly in this direction, so he didn't see anything. Like, I guess he's not good with one eye. The analysts in this room look completely engaged at work. I'm only surprised that we can sneak past them without being noticed. We actually can sneak by them. They're kind of too engrossed in their work. They will try to confront us if we get near the consoles, though. We're gonna go over here first. Alright. There's basically like a treasure trove of information in this place. You can read through a lot of these reports, you know. Ensign Kryman is dead. Hfifar ordered him to explore the tunnels. We found organic remains, and his fully discharged disruptor was nearby. It looked like he had been melted. I think we should wall off this section of the mine and not disturb the creature down here. 6 people have already died. 5 were miners and were expendable. If Kryman showed promise. I know that in time he would have been a fine officer. I've asked Colonel Hfifar to request reinforcements. If he's determined to kill people exploring this mine, let him kill recruits. Way to find some expendable people to deal with the Porta in the mine. We were drilling near when we broke through a wall into a chamber that hadn't appeared on our scans. Blasted magnesite? It blocks everything. Sensors, tricorders, they're all useless. The chamber is large and should be suitable for an expansion of the base. There are several spherical orbs in it. We have yet to determine the nature of these orbs, but Janet thinks they are pretty. She kept one for her quarters. I've asked for permission to study the orbs. They remind me of a Federation report I read once. I can't remember the details, but it was something about the Janus system. This is referring to the TOS episode of The Devil in the Dark, which is about Kirk and the crew encountering a creature called a Porta. He's like a living lava rock blob monster thing. And these spheroids, these are the Porta eggs. And they mentioned Janek took one of these as a souvenir. Like, yeah, that's a bad idea, because that just aggravates the Horda. So that's probably the problem they're having down here. Anyway, there's some Centaurans trying to fight the Horda over here, so we shall assist them by killing them. And the Horda is friendly to us. No kill! No kill! No kill the Horda. Alright. Alright, so we need to find the commander's access code. So we need to confront Janek. But we got some more interesting, fun little information to scour through in the room over here. And unfortunately, we do have to murder all these Romulans, because they're just kind of in the way. They're going to be a problem, so... We're Starfleet, we'll kill all the Romulans. I'm sorry, I had to kill you. Alright. Alright, so observations from the holofeed and listening posts have Hephaestus. Hephaestus? Is that how you pronounce that? Janek is fighting with Akiv. Again. Akiv takes shuttle and leaves base for 2 days. Long-range sensors mark his progress in the neutral zone. 6 miners held for questioning. Chief Medical Officer reports 2 cases of Lavodian flu. 6 encrypted messages sent from Colonel Hakiv's console to unknown recipient. Recommend that transmissions be investigated further. So in case you didn't know, this place is listening post. This is the listening post. I can't pronounce that word. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. Observed from capture spot recording in the Delta Quadrant. Resistance is futile. It's an amazing intel that the Tal Shiar has gathered there. True way. They're from a holofeed on Cardassia Prime. The Tapa Council petitions the Federation to fund Iconian city infrastructure projects. 47 injured in bombing at University of Kulat. True Way claims responsibility for attack. The Tapa Council passes bill allowing Cardassian government to seize assets of persons convicted of terrorist activity. Councillor Miriam Okanda resigns. Starfleet sending advisors to Cardassia Prime to advise government on security issues. Councillor Avala introduces resolution calling for Cardassia to apply for Federation membership. Bill stalls in committee. Ministry of Trade extends agreements with Ferengi to market Cardassian-made transport vessels and phaser banks. So, make a couple mentioning of the True Way, which is kind of like a Cardassian extremist group, which we will encounter later on. Interesting that somebody did try to suggest the idea of the Cardassia join the Federation. Maybe they will eventually. Who knows? Probably still a ways off. Starfleet reports. Captain Sulu has applied for transfer to the front lines of the Klingon conflict. Admiral Quinn under medical care for heart condition. Intercepted Starfleet medical records indicate the condition is fully treatable and not a suitable target for exploitation. 7th Fleet entered neutral zone as part of a routine series of exercises. Lieutenant Drake headed an extended operation in Eta Eridani. Starfleet Command considering new tactics in conflicts with the True Way. Starfleet intelligence concerned with rise in war profiteering by independent Ferengi and Dopterians. I think I mentioned this before. I don't quite know who the Dopterians are, but maybe we'll find out later. Klingon activity. Alright. Chancellor Jimpok facing increasing challenges from members of the High Council loyal to the House of Martok. Alliance between House of Jimpok and House of Duras is weak. Situation is highly exploitable. Recommend we seek agents on Kronos. Many members of discommendated House of Torg have been absorbed into the House of Duras. KDF leadership angered by High Council's mandate to work more closely with Klingon intelligence. Vecturi forces in region massing under new leadership. Milani Dion entering home of Direct, son of Martok. Foreign push for representative. I think it's supposed to be representation. Foreign push for representation on the High Council rejected. So some of that stuff I think refers to the Klingon intro. The stuff that happens with the Klingon intro. So let's see, Tau Deva, which is basically new Romulus. From Republic space. Archaeological activity indicates that a recent excavation has revealed an unexpected high-value find. Attempts to capture colonists of putative Molrihan meeting with resistance from mixed forces. Again, I don't know what that statement means. Federation Starbase 234 engaging in defensive training exercises. Long-range social destabilization of Iconian culture underway. Tholian activity correlated with temporal anomalies near Azura Nebula. Cloaked assets monitoring construction of listening posts in Majorette system. Okay, there's some stuff about New Romulus. They do mention the Azura Nebula, which will be a mission involving the Tholians later on in the game. And Roman Empire info. Increased power use in Royal Palace indicates that lower levels may be in use. Senator Shemek is accepting bribes in exchange for slowing progress on trade agreements. Rosian representatives meet with Sela. Reman representatives removed from the Senate chamber. Opposition leader Titan is assassinated. 3 reunification proponents are arrested. And agents for Sela meet with True Way leaders near the Badlands. So Sela is allying with some of the True Way people here. Anyway, let's go in here and find Janek.
I almost feel sorry for you, but I have my own neck to worry about. I'll be joining you in there soon enough. If Hakiv has his way, we all will.
Alright, so there are some Romulan prisoners in here. 4 of them to be exact. But we can be nice and let them all out. They will be friends. See? We have Romulan friends now. Miners. And now we're just gonna go have a little chit chat with Janek. A nice peaceful little chit chat. Gotta wait a moment here. There we go. I mentioned this even the last time. Sometimes this fight with Janek can be a little buggy. Sometimes she can stay stuck in a invincible state where she doesn't stop attacking. In that case, you kind of have to exit and come back again. That means you have to do the entire mine part again. Really annoying. Anyway, let's talk to him.
Enough! I surrender. I value my life more than the Tal Shiar's secrets. I'll tell you anything you want to know. But first, you must tell me why you are here and what you want.
Why does the Reman Resistance want to destroy this base?
The Remans know about this base? Impossible! Only the leadership of the Tal Shiar know we're here. The Empress herself couldn't find us. I don't believe you, but it makes no difference. This is not a military installation. We listen and record here. Nothing more. There are many targets that those Reman scum would find much more tempting.
So this is another situation like with that miner at the entrance. If we had a higher diplomacy ranking, we could talk a way out of having to fight Janek again. But because our diplomacy is like so low, we can't really do anything. We have to fight her and kill her. It's kind of unfortunate. You know, we're Starfleet, but we don't get the peaceful option. Like, I don't know what's up with that. Although if you are playing the Romulan character, you do automatically get the diplomatic option with them. So, enough of these lies.
Are you sure you want to end things like this?
Well, no, not really, but I don't have much of a choice, so, yes. We're Starfleet, murderers of Romulans. Okay, we can open this door now. And there's some Romulan guards in here somewhere. Over there. Have a grenade. I'm surprised these miners have weapons on them. I don't know where they got the weapons from, but they have them.
How did you find this place? What else do you know? No matter. You won't be revealing anything to your superiors. It's disappointing I cannot give you a proper interrogation. But I have much to do and little time. The self-destruct sequence has begun. This base will be your tomb.
Reactor is going critical. We need to get out of here. But not before we find out what is so important to Akiv. I will destroy the base to protect it. Yes, let's gather info first. Alright, we got it. Time to leave. Miners, you might want to leave. You're running the wrong way. What was quite funny about this mission, if you manage to talk down Janek and let her live, she'll just stay in here. And I guess she dies in the mine because she never leaves. I don't know what happens to her if you leave her behind. But it doesn't matter, she's dead now, so I guess that's okay. Boy, we really could use a helmet. This is like prime hard hat time. But whatever, we made it. Alright. Let's go tell Maven the good news.
My mind! What have you done to my mind?
There was an infestation of Tal Shiar spies in there. Fumigated.
Tal Shiar? I'm shocked. I had no idea. I certainly wouldn't have sent you down there if you... Say, you didn't happen to find anything valuable down there, did you? Because if you did, remember, I have an exclusive contract.
You're welcome to go take a look on your own. Stop with the lies, Madron. I know you knew who and what was done down there.
And what's it to you? This is a rough area of the Quadrant, you know, and they're good neighbors. If you're not easily embarrassed, their cameras and listening devices are everywhere. I haven't had a single problem with Orions or Herodians since they moved in. And it doesn't hurt that I acquired the odd bit of information here and there. I'm a businessman, and information is big business.
Do you know anything about what they recently discovered?
Unfortunately, no. I'll admit, I was trying to find out, but their systems were locked down tight. I'm sure whatever it was had to be big news. Everyone was on edge. Janik and Hakiv were barely speaking, and I once heard Hakiv mumbling something about orders. Someone's been pulling his strings, but I don't know who. I do know that Tal Shiar takes security very seriously. If you manage to pull any files from their system, you can expect them to be heavily encoded. Trust me on that. I speak from experience.
Okay.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go talk 100 Romulans into digging a new mine to replace the one you destroyed. My profit margin for this month is ruined.
Treat those miners well, Madron, or I'll be back. Or I'll be seeing you again, probably. Definitely be seeing you again. Madron doesn't seem to know much, Captain, or at least he's not willing to part with what information he knows without being paid. I don't think he can help us anymore. We should return to the ship and try our luck at decrypting the files we recovered from the Tal Shiar. I'm sure that they will be more useful than anything Madron has to say. Alright, back to the ship. Alright, so this is a unique situation in the game, which you actually have to go into your starship to decrypt the Tal Shiar file. You can't do it anywhere else, so I think this is the only mission in the game where you have to go into your starship. I can't think of any other mission where you have to actually do this. You have to go to the starship, you have to go to your ready room, and you have to decrypt the Tal Shiar file with the ship's computer. I kind of wonder why they didn't do more of this in other missions in the game. I guess Cryptic forgot about the ship being inside your ship and doing things after a while. Considering how old this mission is, the Reman mystery arc is one of the oldest story arcs in the game. Welcome back to the bridge in my floating chair. Anyway, I need to go to the ready room. Do a little file decryption. Alright, so we got some files. We need to basically suss out the incorrect information and replace it with the correct information to get a key that will be used to decrypt the master file. So, we'll start the first file here for report. Today's note in Klingon space. Emperor Kalos has been spotted in Breen space. Chancellor Jimpok has a potential adversary in Jarad. The House of Tor was brought before the High Council for commendation by the House of Martok, which is, I can tell you right now, that is bullshit. The Forcas 3 Battle Tournament has a new champion, so analyze. Yeah, okay, so as they're saying, it's part of the other file reciprocity is a file we need to translate, but we need to cross out into Starfleet records and find the incorrect information. So the House of Toro lost its seat on the Klingon High Council after evidence was revealed that the House leaders collaborated with Romulans to attack the House of Martok, which happens in the Klingon tutorial. So we need to correct that information. House of Torg is brought forward for an act of treason. Yep. Check new file. Do +4 here. Activities in Federation. Federation embassy established on Hfifar Prime. Federation Council extends aid to Cardassia Prime and agrees to continue the Defense Pact. Klingon Federation peace talks disrupted on Regulus 4. Vulcan Ambassador Sokath retires to Monastery on Pajim. So we already played that mission. That was one of the first missions we did, so we already know that's not correct. Yeah, fix that. He did not retire. He was exposed as an Undine. Right? Next file. Excuse me. Precedence. This one's a little confusing because it's just officer ID numbers. There's no reference documents comparable in the Starfleet database. Marshal number sequence found. Officer ID numbers the sum of previous two. File reference in another file reciprocity. Does that mean it's actually in here? Let me find a couple of the pass keys here. I'm just trying to figure out what would be the legitimate way to figure that out. Let me do referendum here. Romulan Senate stuff. Senate votes to give Emperor Sela power to override rulings of Imperial courts. Master Jirok visits Andoria. Reman rebels attack transports on Iota Pavonis. Senate ratifies new tax on the lithium. So, when I mentioned in the beginning about when I was talking about Ambassador Jirok visiting Vulcan, that was that mission. So we know this here is not correct. If you played the mission, you would know that Ambassador Jirok visited Vulcan, not Andoria. So we need to fix that. Is it Vulcan? And let's try reciprocity again. And nope, I'm not really figuring out what the ID code would be. But I know I think it's this one? Yeah, it's that one there. It's Lieutenant Livok's ID number. Okay. Okay, now that's the last one. We can open this and translate the file. So, secret Reman base detected in the Dara system. Missing post hepatitis has detected an increase in subspace communication and ships traveling to and from the Dara system. Analysis of the communications and ship traffic reveals patterns of obfuscation normally employed by Reman forces. Tal Shiar forces then intercepted a ship leaving the Dara system and captured 47 Reman civilians. The passengers and crew were summarily executed under orders of Colonel Hakiv, but the captain and first officer were preserved for questioning. Under interrogation, the captain of the Reman vessel provided a security key that could be used to decipher encrypted communications sent to the Dara system. The encrypted messages prove that there is a base in this area of space being used by the Reman resistance. Recommendation: Tal Shiar ship should be sent to the Dara system immediately to capture this base and its inhabitants. Alright. So Tal Shiar are aware of a Reman base and they want to capture it. The Tal Shiar is planning an attack on a Reman base. We need to get this information to Admiral Tenay at Starbase 39 Sierra immediately. Well, I will just, beep her here.
The Tal Shiar records you recovered showed that Hfifar and his forces had been targeting the Remans for months. Obisek and his followers had been driven from their homes, had their ships destroyed, and their loved ones killed or imprisoned. Some might say that Obisek's campaign against the Tal Shiar is just. However, Obisek was planning on using Thalaron weapons in the Hfifar System, which would have killed hundreds of innocent civilians as well as the Tal Shiar cell there. This is the problem with revenge. Violence and fury only create more pain and suffering.
Alright, so we're going to take mineralogy research.
I have
Congratulations, Commander.
Okay. What are we doing to help Romulan civilians like those miners?
Since the destruction of Romulus, the Federation has done all it can for the survivors and the Romulan colony worlds. Many of our aid shipments were stolen or diverted for use by the Romulan military. Others were rejected out of pride or suspicion. Nonetheless, we will not stop. It is my belief that a lasting peace with the Romulans is possible, but it will not be attained through treaties. Only by reaching out to individuals, as you did in the Hfifar System, can we sweep away decades of mistrust and hostility.
I have new missions for you.
Okay. Alright, so in my inventory I have this here. I double click this. This research can be utilized to train a young Horta hatchling on using their abilities in combat to aid your away team during ground combat. You must have access to the Hfifar system in order to utilize this item, which we have. So we equip that. And now we get the assignment. We do need to have 100 duranium available, as well as the Horta hatchling here. We can go ahead and begin that. It takes 2 hours. So the next time I do this, we will have a Horta. A little Horta friend. So since we're here, we can go ahead and do the patrol. Popped up here. Event page for tracking. Yeah, okay, I know about that. Let's patrol the Hfifar System. Since we're here. Captain, Federation scientists studying the unusual gravitational harmonics of this system are reporting attacks by Romulan raiders. The Romulans claim that they are searching the planetoids for relics from the Sundering, but all they're doing is attacking our researchers and capturing their supplies. Romulan legends may say that this system was one of the stopping points on their ancestors' exodus from Vulcan, but they are now using those myths to justify killing our people. If we don't stop them, the science teams on those planetoids won't be able to hold out for long. We got some naughty Romulans. Hello, Virgo. Yes, I am using the skill points. Let's see. We'll go with some an application. Alright. Alright, let's go find some Romulans to kill. As if we already killed a bunch already tonight. Boom. those veterans. Veteran parkour. Yeah, I suppose I should take that on here. Romulans, where are you? The Durex. Nope. Okay. He died before he could do the thing. Our main scanners are clear, Captain. The science team send their thanks. I'm gonna get this thing first anyway. Alright, we are done here. Got a patrol in tonight. Since I was right here. Alright. So, I have about... Well, actually, you know what? I could go for another hour here. We could do another mission. But before I do that... Well, actually, I need to turn that in first. Scanning indicates that the Hfifar system is secure. Good job. Alright. For that, I do want to go back to Soul System. Oh, because I have some goodies. I had some goodies to pick up. I hear my temporal agent buddy has a whole bunch of stuff for me. Welcome back to Earth Space Dock. Philip Cray, that was his name, right? Temporal Agent, Mr. Philip Cray. Hello again.
Greetings, how can I assist you today? Or in the future?
In the future. So, web rewards have been unlocked by other characters. All these wonderful goodies. Look at all this stuff. All of this. All of this is mine. You're taking. Alright, there's a lot of stuff here. Let me make sure my inventory is sorted first before I do this here, so. I'm just gonna take all this stuff here and we're gonna sort it out here. Take that, yes. Yes. Most of this is gonna be reputation marks. So it'll give me like a huge boost and head start in the reputation stuff later on. There's a lot of clicking buttons here. Now I still got a few things left to do on my Klingon and Gamma recruit. Bat'leth Vestova core. Yeah, I don't really need to claim the Bat'leth because I'm not going to use it. You know, I could claim it if I wanted to, but I don't really need it. Yeah, a couple of traits here too. And you also get the tier 6 bird of prey, which I'll just take just for the Admiralty card I get with that. My Gamma recruit. I kind of wish there was like a take all button. You know, just give me everything that's available. Okay, and there nothing in Delta recruit. Okay. Let's look at what we got here. Lots of goodies. Now this one, I do have a rep pool open, which is what I have, so. I already got a few things here. Refine that to lithium. So we'll take some. I probably want to focus on building up Discovery first, because it has kind of the most useful gear in it. These other reps are kind of situational, but there are some useful things in the Romulan, Omega, and Terran, and competitive. So we get 200 marks here. I'm going to take yeah, let's do 200 Omega marks, which will give me 240. 10, measly 10. Doesn't matter, just whatever. 9 marks. 50. Let's do Dyson. It's important you have the reputation bonus here, that way you get the extra marks here, because there's a lot of marks here. We really want to make sure you get that bonus. There's another 200. I will take competitive for that one. 500 smackaroos. That'll be discovery. And this is a bunch of R&D stuff, along with an R&D booster, which I'll go ahead and gladly take. It's only 2,000. Kind of paltry, but that'll last you like 2 R&D research projects. Just 2. Not very many. More R&D stuff. And you get to get a 10,000, which is much more useful. Take that. Fleet March and Fleet Dilithium, which is not going to be immediately useful until I join the fleet. It's probably going to be a long ways down the road, so don't count on that happening anytime soon. So we get some more Jem'Hadar bonus stuff here. Okay, this gives me a free ultimate tech upgrade option. What I've been doing with this is I've been taking the shield tech one, and I just use this on the discovery shield because that is most people consider to be the best shield in the game. So you might as well just take that and do a maximum upgrade on that shield right away. But this will only be good once I get to level 65, so I'm going to be hanging on to this for a while. So, and more 500 marks. I'm going to put that into let's put it into Terran. In there. And a choice of a premium mark. We'll take the discovery one. Let's get that. Eight of those. So Klingon. I will just take the build the Undyne back up again. Those 100 marks. I'll take Iconian. 25. And we'll put that into Delta. Another 25. Put that into Temporal. And another 25. Put that into Lucari. Yet another 25. I will put this into the smaller ones. Do Lucari again. Keep building those small ones up. Temporal. And Delta. You notice that the Klingon one has the listing reversed from the Jem'Hadar one? That just kind of throws me off a bit. It'd be nice if Cryptic could stay consistent with the organization here, but I guess they're just not concerned about that. And the new car all the way to the top. Yeah, that thing is like all out of order. Nice.
Condition Alpha. Repeat. Condition Alpha.
almost done here. What am I doing? Like, I look at this because this is in one order, and I look over here and everything's a different order. Then it's like I can't find what I'm looking for. There we go. Just do that. Yeah, that's what I mean by this is being out of order is throwing me off. And that looks to be about it. That back out. I do get this bird of prey. I'll put ship costume unlock. Nook. Durango. Okay, I'll go with Durango. I'm not going to use it. It's going to be for the Admiralty card. The Admiralty card that comes with is actually pretty decent. Alright, so we got a whole bunch of marks, and that'll give me a massive head start when it comes to doing reputation stuff. I also got a whole bunch of energy credits from that too, as well as some little bit of lithium. So this is why you do the recruits. You will get a massive bonus from your recruits. Like, massive. I'm talking, you just saw it right there. I'm gonna get rid of that stuff there because I don't really need it. I did get the piezoelectric execution scepter. That was from the Klingon recruit. I've never really found this console, this kit thing to be useful. So I'm just gonna put it in the bank. I'm not gonna use it. I've tried using it before on other characters, and it's just kind of, meh. Alright, well, if I look at the episode list here, I mean, I'm kind of tempted to kind of keep going. Like, I could do Frozen. It's not that long of a mission. Coliseum, I know, does take a while to do. As well as I think cutting the cord does. But that will be the last two missions of the Romulan story arc, and that's where it would finish. But since I only did 2 missions really tonight, I guess I'll... Yeah, we'll go ahead and do Frozen. Let's go ahead and get this started.
We know from the information you recovered from the Hfifar System that the Tal Shiar are planning to attack a Reman settlement in the Dara system. We have an opportunity to reach the settlement first. This may be a completely internal matter, and if so, the Prime Directive will come into play. We will not be able to interfere, but if there is an outside influence directing these matters, we must know what it is. Our encounters with the Undine and the Changelings have proven that there are entities attempting to move the powers of the Quadrant like pieces in a Cal-Toe game. It is essential to protecting the Federation to see these attempts for what they are and counter them. I want you to go to the Dara system and learn more about the Reman uprising. The Remans will have hidden their base, so you may have to use subterfuge to find it. One more thing. I realize this is a dangerous situation and that you may be drawn into conflict, but do not antagonize the Remans or the Romulans if you can avoid doing so. We are already at war with the Klingon Empire. I would prefer to avoid another extended conflict.
Okay, I'll try not to.
I have new missions for you.
And you know what, I just realized I kind of used up all of my reputation bonus. Let me fix that. Yeah, I think I used it up while I was doing that. I didn't realize I ran out. It's not a big deal. Alright, let's go find some Remans. I got another follower on Twitch. Thank you for following. I hope you're watching. Can't tell. Anyway. Let's do it. I'm in a good mood. I want to do another mission. Alright. Okay, well, that's actually pretty far away. But I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and set a course for that. And I will take a momentary break. The captain needs to take care of personal business, and I'll be back in a moment. So enjoy space, the final frontier. I'm back. Where are we at? We're not there yet. Alright, where are we at? We're getting there. I can start up some duty officer missions while I'm here. Along the way. Not that one. Always gotta watch out for those. 50,000 EC credits down the drain. Am I here? No, I'm not. It's just... I don't know why it stops sometimes when I'm in the duty officer system. It's like, keep going. I'm trying to do things while we're in transit. Don't stop the ship. Okay, we're here. Oh, there it is, Dara. Rosen. Not the Disney movie. Commander, the Remans are jamming our sensors. There is no way to determine where their base is located without assistance. We need a guide. Sensors are picking up communication satellite nearby. We should be able to modify it to emit a signal that the Remans will think is from one of their ships. When the Remans send someone to investigate the signal, we can get a sensor lock on their ship and follow them back to their base. Sounds like a plan. Ah, micronebula. We use to hide from the Reman ship and we tend to fake distress signal. Yes. Alright. The modifications are complete, Commander. When we trigger the transmission, the Remans should think it's from a vessel that is losing power and needs assistance. There's a micronebula aft of our location. That should be sufficient to conceal the gallant's energy signature while we wait for the Reman guide to arrive. We can't just ask for a guide. We have to trick them into coming here first. Alright, in position. The signal worked, Captain. Reman scout ship in range. It's moving to scan the probe. Sensor lock confirmed. We'll be able to track them if they go to work. Detecting a large energy buildup, sir. Romulan battleship decloaking. Captain, they're firing on the Reman ship. Maybe we ought to go help them. The scout ship's weapons and engines are damaged. They're cloaking. Attempting to re-establish sensor lock. I'm glad we can still track them while they're cloaked, because, you know, that's usually a difficult thing to do. Captain, the Reman ship is cloaked, but its engines are damaged and sensors are detecting a tachyon leak. They can't stay hidden for long. If we distract the Romulans, then the Remans will have a chance to decloak and go to work. Otherwise, I don't think they can last long against the Romulans. If the Reman vessel is destroyed, we'll lose our best chance at finding the base. Alright, let's go say hi and be friendly. Captain? Incoming hail from the lead Romulan vessel. They know we're here. Putting it on the main view screen now.
Ah, you're a good distance out of your Federation's territory, aren't you? Offer no aid or assistance to these Reman rebels and leave this system immediately. If you do so, I can overlook your intrusion into an internal affair. Otherwise, I would be forced to see your presence here as an invasion of Romulan territory. That would be unfortunate. For you.
Uh-huh. Yeah. We have to fight you. I'm sorry, the game gives me no choice. Alright, Reman Scout. Commander, the Reman Scout ship has decloaked. They'll try to shake us. We need to stay close until we can get a lock on the ship's warp signature. Alright. We will stay near them. Oh, I almost ran into them. Oh. Oh, right on top of me. Boom. The Reman ship has executed a short warp jump. I have a lock on its coordinates, sir. We can engage warp as soon as you're ready. Let me grab the loop here. Okay, follow the Reman Scout. Let's go. I'm not picking up any ships here, Commander, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are one or more cloaked ships in the area. Reman cloaked ships can appear as concentrations of Tetrion particles. I will continue scanning the area. There is something interesting on the planet's surface, however. Sensors are detecting a large underground installation. It could very well be the base that the Reman resistance is using. The entire area is protected by a magnetic shield, though, so we can't transport inside. Rearrange my chair here. There is a series of caverns connected to the installation. We could send a team there and try to find a way to disable or circumvent the magnetic shielding. Right. I guess we're beaming down. Let's see, we'll leave Flores. Down there, we'll bring another engineer. Commander, this is incredible. The underground cavern we were in is natural, but the base itself, it's a ship, the Derek's class. My tricorder readings are correct. The Remans moved a Deliric vessel into the cavern. We appear to be in a maintenance area adjacent to the hull of the ship. The Remans probably mined these tunnels for raw materials. I'm picking up multiple veins of ore that could be useful if they are replicating ship parts or weapons. I'm not reading any way into the ship from here, though. We'll need to find an entrance. And there are dogs in here. I guess we need to get rid of the dogs. Alright, good. I didn't even read what that was. What'd you say? Sir, this cavern seems to be occupied by indigenous fauna. We should proceed with caution. Yes, we should. Oh, I got a tribble. Oh. Hanzo's room appeared to operate the heavy machinery Reman used to create the cavern. The entrance to the base should be just ahead. This tunnel leads directly into the main area of the base, sir, but it's completely blocked. I wonder if a weapon on its highest setting would breach it. Well, we can find out. The gate is made of titanium alloy, Commander. There's no way a hand weapon will blast through it. We need something with a lot more power. That's it! Sir, did you see the mining laser? If it's operational, we might be able to modify it to do the job. I think the controls for the laser are on the other side of this wall. You mean the other side of that thing there? Some boxes around here. Has some random supplies. Alright, let's try the mining laser. Alright, we push this button right here, right? Malfunction, engaging automatic shutdown. No. Well, that was anticlimactic. Something must be wrong with the mining laser, sir. We should perform a more detailed scan to determine the source of the problem. Well, that's why I brought 2 engineers with me, to figure this out. But no, I guess I have to do it myself, because I'm the player. Commander, the mining laser's power system isn't strong enough. We won't be able to cut through titanium. I think there are several different ways we can fix this. Your career training will help. My career training? You're the engineer. You're the chief engineer. Come on, why don't you do something, Zarva? Your applied tactics instructor always told you to use whatever was available to get the job done. You think you could modify the power cell of a hand weapon to boost the output of the mining laser. Sparkly weapons aren't compatible, but the Remans might have left something suitable in the cave. You know, they just happened to leave something in the cave we can use. Alright. Let's go find that something in the cave. Need power supplies. The abandoned lab station probably used to refine the ore remains collected from the dimensions of the spiders. Kill them all. Pick on the ice spiders. I hate spiders. Why does every new species we encounter try to kill us? I don't know, fellas. You're asking the wrong person. You should be asking the devs that. Hi, there's more spiders. Android, get them. Oh, more spiders. Wow. I don't like spiders. Alright. Now we need to fuse the power packs together. You have all the power cells you need. Before you can use them to boost the output of the mining laser, you will need to fuse them together and install a single control unit that is strong enough to handle the burst of power without burning out. So we need to go use the lab. This is the lab. So, I'll place the power packs down here. And then we're going to push the button on here. And voila, fused power pack. I'm certain that is safe. The combined power pack is now ready to use. All you need to do now is install it in the mining laser and cross your fingers and hope it works and doesn't blow up in your face. I'm a Starfleet officer, I know what I'm doing. That did it, sir. Power to the mining laser is steady and it should be ready to fire. Alright, let's try again here. Let's try pushing this button this time. You know, Zarva, I'm sure you could have done that. Success. Path inside the Reman base is clear, Commander. The Remans will be alerted to our presence, but we will need to be careful. But I have a feeling that Obisek wants to see us. You do? I mean, we are kind of breaking into his place again. The last time we met him in the vault, he wasn't too pleased and he tried to attack us. Yeah, the Remans seem to be okay with us. They seem chill. You get it? Chill. Because it's cold. Chill out. They don't even seem to have been expecting us. But we should have just knocked. Why are you here, outsider? Ask your questions, I will answer. I want to know about your life here, and...
The nights are cold, and there's not enough food. It is a place like any other. For now we are safe from the Tal Shiar. But I fear that will soon change.
Why are you fighting the Romulans? I should know this already.
My wife was working on a mining ship. This was not a military vessel. It had no weapons and limited shields. It was not in restricted space, and it threatened no one. The Tal Shiar captured it, and questioned everyone on the crew for weeks. My wife died screaming in a Tal Shiar interrogation chamber. I fight for her.
What do you want when this conflict ends?
What do I want? I cannot answer that question. All I wanted, all I will ever want, died with my wife.
Okay, it was a pleasure chatting with you. Carry on. Excuse me, sir, would you like to have a little chat? Okay, no, you don't want to chat. Okay, fine. I will move on. So I do know in this side room there are some more supplies we can procure from the Remans. They don't mind. I think all these Remans say the same thing. You're not wanted here, outsider. Why don't you want us here?
Obisek says we must trust you. He says we need allies and that your contacts in the Federation will help us. I am wary of the Federation, for they have always been our enemies. But I am willing to trust that you will look to the mutual interest of all our kind.
Why do you think Obisek is wrong?
I am old and I have seen much. I fought with Shinzon and he was obsessed with outsiders. He risked everything in a useless attack on the Federation. If he had thought more about our people and less about his hatred for humans, we would control the Empire today. Instead, we have nothing. This is what comes from dealing with outsiders.
Yeah, you know, Shinzon wasn't really the brightest bulb in the pack, I'd say. So what do you want?
I want peace and I want quiet. All of my friends and family are dead. I have no stake in this rebellion. I fight because that is all I know how to do. But this battle is my last. When it is over, I will find some place dark. And I will stay there for the rest of my days.
Okay. Well, you have fun with that. Enjoy your life in the dark. The Remans naturally like the darkness. What do you want? Ask what you want, I will answer, or won't. Why do you follow Obisek?
Obisek has a vision. He wants all Remans to be free from Romulan oppression. He wants us to have a world of our own, and not to have to beg for scraps from the Romulans' tables. Obisek will lead us to victory. I, for one, am happy to fight at his side.
Are there people here who aren't happy with Obisek's leadership?
Many of the people here have lost family members to the Tal Shiar. It's hard to be happy about anything when all you're thinking about is what you don't have.
And what do you want out of this war?
I want out. I will fight by Obisek's side until we are free. But then, I want to explore. I've had enough of despair. There are hundreds of ships that need a capable warrior. I will find one of them, leave this space, and never look back. Perhaps I will join the crew of a Klingon vessel.
That's not what the dialogue here says. It says, perhaps I will join the crew of a Starfleet vessel. But instead, the actual voice actor said he will join a Klingon vessel. It's kind of a bit of a mismatch in the dialogue there. Alright, let's go meet Mr. Obisek. He is behind this door here.
This place won't be safe forever. We have to be ready to leave at a moment's notice. Prepare the...
Hello.
Ah, it's you. Welcome to the heart of the Resistance, little spy. There is so much for us to discuss, and so little time. The Tal Shiar have discovered this, our last refuge. They will be here soon, and my people and I will have to fight for our lives. Yet one question remains. Will you be our friend, or our enemy?
Well, I would rather not be your enemy. Because you're trying to fight the Tal Shiar. And I don't particularly like the Tal Shiar. Because they're a bunch of doo-doo heads.
My hope is that you are here to talk. But I am prepared for the alternative. The Tal Shiar could arrive at any time. Speak quickly.
Why are you doing this? Why fight the Tal Shiar?
Why? You ask why? This place is one of the last sanctuaries left to my people, and even it is lost to us now. The Romulans have driven us from our homes, destroyed our ships, and captured or killed our loved ones. They seek to exterminate us, and we will not go quietly. Understand, I do not want this war. I want freedom for my people. It is the Romulans and the Dark Masters they serve who have caused this. Now they must suffer the consequences.
Your Dark
Is there
Masters.
anything else you wish to ask?
Did Sela order these attacks?
This campaign of terror is the Tal Shiar's doing, not the Empress's. Still, Sela does nothing to stop it. There is little love between the Empress and the Tal Shiar. Did you know that many years ago, she was exiled from Romulus for attempting to assassinate the head of their order? The Tal Shiar have their own masters, and Sela despises what she cannot control. Is there anything else you wish to ask?
Why do you think the Tal Shiar are doing this?
Hakiv and the Tal Shiar no longer serve the Empire. The demons of air and darkness are their masters now. They whisper in the night for chaos and despair, and Hakiv gives them blood as tribute. Our blood. Is there anything else you wish to ask?
Tell me more about these demons.
I have never seen one of these demons, and I will not speak their name, but I know they exist. Eons ago, they ruled this part of the galaxy. After thousands of years of tyranny and death, the races they ruled rose up against them, driving them from their home world into unexplored space. We thought they had been destroyed. We were wrong. The demons of air and darkness survive, and they hunger for revenge. Is there anything else you wish to ask?
Demons. Do you still have Thalaron weapons?
A small supply. They are terrible things. Weapons of war so horrible, they should have never been invented at all. But they were. And my enemies are great. If I must resort to barbarism to free my people, that is not too high of a price to pay. Is there anything else you wish to ask?
Have you tried to find a peaceful solution?
There will be no peace. Not while Hakiv lives. This is not a problem that can be solved by diplomacy. Hakiv kills my people, I kill his. That is how it will be, until one of us is dead. Is there anything else you wish to ask?
Well, what do you want from me?
We need your help. Talk to Starfleet Command. Tell them what you have seen. Tell them if my people are to survive, we need assistance. Starships, soldiers, medicine, protection for the refugees. I'm asking for the Federation's aid. You claim to be an organization dedicated to freedom for all peoples. Tell me, will you help my people now? Is there anything else you wish to ask?
Okay. So this is probably one of the really few missions in the game where you actually have a choice in how to progress things, because normally a lot of the missions and story is pretty linear. In this case, you get a couple options on how you want to resolve this here. You can try to force Obisek to surrender to you. Spoiler, he's not going to surrender to you. He will actually turn the Remans against you when the Tal Shiar attacks, so you have to fight both him and the Tal Shiar, which is not really the best outcome. Or you can just say, you may not agree with your tactics, but I will not stop you, which is essentially just, okay, I understand your point of view, I'm not going to try to directly fight you, but I'm not really going to support you either, so it's kind of more of a neutral option here. In that case, Obisek won't sick the Remans on you, and you'll only have to fight the Tal Shiar.
I am glad you see things my way. Get instructions from your commanders if you must, but the battle rages, and we must join it. With your help, my people will be free.
Alright, we're gonna let Obisek go. He's fighting the good fight, despite having...
I'm pleased you see that my cause is just. We can do great...
Sir, Romulan transporter signals detected. The Tal Shiar have entered the base.
Start the evacuation. We must get the civilians out.
Commander Roshna,
Transport the reinforcements here. Tell them to assist our new ally. I will return to my ship and attempt to hold off their forces. Help my soldiers defend this base. Fight well, my friend. My people are counting on you.
Commander, we've lost our transporter lock on you and the away team. The Tal Shiar must have activated a transport inhibitor. We need to find that inhibitor and shut it down. Alright. Alright, weapons free. Grenade. Alright, so now we just have to fight our way through the Tal Shiar. Fight our way out of here. Here's a transport inhibitor. Alright. The Reman should be able to handle it from here, Commander. We should return to the ship and report to Admiral Tanay. Obisek trusts us. I don't know if he's right about the outside influence on Hfif's actions, but I'm sure that he believes these demons are real. There is someone directing Hfif to attack the Remans. This isn't a purely internal matter now. The requirements of the Prime Directive aren't as clear. Even if he's wrong, Obisek is asking for the Federation's help. Without it, the Remans may be exterminated. Are we supposed to simply ignore genocide? Now the answer is no. Speedman. Alright, 3 hours, almost on the dot here. Alright, let's inform Tanay what we discovered.
I sympathize with Obisek's plight, but I do not know if we will be able to assist him. He has no proof of these demons that he claims are directing Hfif's actions. Without that, becoming directly involved in this conflict would be a violation of the Prime Directive. We will protect the Federation, offer aid to the refugees, and keep this conflict from spilling over into our territory. But if Obisek and his followers are going to continue this fight, they will do so without Starfleet support.
The Admiral has spoken. Besides, I don't really think the Prime Directive really applies to this situation, but... okay, whatever. I get a Romulan disruptor weapon. Like, whatever. I'm not gonna use it.
I have...
Congratulations, Commander.
There's more going on here. We can't just ignore it.
I agree with you. There is more to this story, and we must continue to follow the trail until all is revealed. As I have said, directly assisting the Remans against the Tal Shiar would be interfering with an internal affair, and that is prohibited by Starfleet regulations. However, I will authorize you to continue investigating this matter. If you can find evidence that supports Obisek's claims, then more options will be open to us.
Okay. We're still on the mission to investigate the Romulans. We're being held by Obisek. Putting him on screen now. Oh, already?
The Reman Resistance is very much in need of your help.
This will technically start the next mission, so... we're gonna wait till next time, Obisek. See you then. Alright. Is there anything in my inventory of note? Get rid of the tribble. Tribbles are garbage. Yeah, okay. I think that's going to be it for tonight. So yeah, good stream. 3 hours on the dot. Not bad. We got 3 missions done. Got a bunch of extra goodies I get to mess with today. And anyway, yeah, that's going to be it for tonight. Hope you enjoyed the stream. As always, if you watch on YouTube, leave a like if you liked. You can subscribe on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitch, be sure to follow. And enjoy the streams. I will see you next time. I will definitely try to do Chrono Trigger tomorrow night or Thursday. We'll see how things go. And yeah, have a good night. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.